You found a student?
Not yet, but we'll find it.
Very nice.
We'll find it out.
Give it to me, I'll find it.
I'll have to. I'm going to let that in, sir.
Okay.
So don't worry about it. I'll get it out.
Okay, just
to just come forward, walk over here, bow to it, and just give me a second or two so I can get a photo of two of you. Don't rush it. You've got plenty of time. It's your day. All right. So come here. Just very quickly. You can get a two or three photos.
Hartlik welkom aan elkeen van u by hierdie doktorale gradeplegtigheid van die Universiteit Stellenbosch. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to each and everyone to this doctoral graduation ceremony at Stellenbosch University. Vanweë die nasionale COVID-19 regulasies en die Universiteit Stellenbosch se gesondheids- en veiligheidsprotokolle, sal hierdie geleentheid ietwat anders daaruit sien as ons gewone seremonies. Ek het 'n lys van aankondigings wat ek in belang van tyd slegs in Engels sal oordra. Ladies and gentlemen, due to the national COVID-19 regulations and Stellenbosch University's health and safety protocols, this event has to be somewhat different from our regular ceremonies. Please carefully note the following. To ensure that we comply with the regulations for indoor events and for your safety, we have kept the number of individuals well below the 250 limit. Only the essential staff members required to constitute a congregation will be present at this event. Thank you for understanding that we had no choice but to severely limit the number of guests that you could invite. We will not be singing the national anthem as is our custom, but we will be listening to an instrumental version of the anthem directly after the procession has entered the hall. All graduands and guests have been assigned unique seat numbers. Please do not move or change seats, as the seating record and history will be used in case any potential contact tracing becomes necessary. All venues are thoroughly cleaned and disinfected as per the approved COVID-19 protocol before and after every ceremony. The wearing of masks is mandatory for both graduands and guests for the full duration of the ceremony, including when graduands cross the stage. Please maintain a safe distance of at least 1.5 meters from others at all times. While graduands will cross the stage, there will be no wooing by the registrar and also no handshaking by the Chancellor in order to comply with COVID-19 regulations. No food may be brought into or consumed in the Entler Hall. Only water is permitted inside the venue. We respectfully request that you exit the venue and the building as swiftly as possible after the event, so that cleaning and sanitizing with a view to the next ceremony may commence as soon as possible. Kindly ensure that you take along any waste items such as water bottles and tissues when you exit the venue. If guests and graduates do not adhere to these conditions, we will unfortunately have no choice but to request that you leave the venue. Baie dankie vir die geduld met die talle aanwysings, dames en here, maar dit is egter in ons almal se belang. Hierdie gradeplegtigheid kan vanaf enige plek in die wêreld aanlyn gevolg word. Indien u nie vooraf kennis gedra het daarvan nie, is u welkom om die volgende webadres met vriende en familie te deel: www.sun.ac.za/streaming. Skakel asseblief u selfone af of deaktiveer die klank vir die duur van die gradeplegtigheid. U is welkom om op sosiale media ervarings oor die gradeplegtighede te deel by #SUGrad. Let asseblief daarop dat flitsfotografie nie toelaatbaar is nie. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for bearing with me while sharing all the directives, but it is in the interest of our health and safety. This graduation ceremony can be followed via live stream from anywhere in the world. In case you were not aware of the streaming, you are welcome to share the following URL with family and friends: www.sun.ac.za/streaming. Please note that load shedding may interrupt internet connectivity and therefore also live streaming, but the recording of the event will be available on the SU YouTube channel afterwards. Load shedding will, however, not have an impact at this occasion. We have a generator on standby. If a power outage should occur, please remain seated while we switch over to the emergency power. Lastly, we request that you please switch your cell phone off or keep it on silent for the duration of the ceremony. You are welcome to share your graduation experiences on the social media at #SUGrad. Please note that flash photography is not allowed. Dames en here, ons is bykans gereed om met die gradeplegtigheid te begin. Ons vra dat u sal opstaan vir die akademiese prosesie en sal bly staan tot nadat ons die nasionale lied geluister het. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the academic procession and remain standing until after we have listened to the national anthem.
Listening to our national anthem, and we listen to it for good contagion contained reasons, because we can stand with each other at risk. We will now listen to attendees and attendees staff, words, hardest, really, deep down heart, en die voorraad van die praktische in die bijzondere omstandigheden. En dit geeft ons die plezier om in ons gesprek van die vandaag die blijdschap te doen. Ons reden echt ook die Here van ons breed in ons tijdsgemeenschap dat hierdie uitdaging die daar oorlede is of persoon aan die boek afgestaan. Ek nooi daarom op die oomblik net so te kan sit terwyl ons vir 'n gewyde oomblik stil elkeen van ons onderwys van verskillende sekulêre en godsdienstige lewensverskille. At the start of this graduation ceremony, we as academic community, parents, graduates, family, staff, the supervisors this morning, we are really grateful. This is also the first non-virtual graduation ceremony I have had. This is an enormous privilege to me and a novelty for all of us. We also at the end of this very hard year want to take a moment to pause to commemorate those who have lost family members, those of us who have lost family members in university. So I invite you now to remain seated while we observe the devotional moment, granting each other each the space in our own way to observe the importance and the sadness of endurance, loss, and to gather our energies and our courage for the next year. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That's better. Can you hear me? Wonderful. Dis nou vir my besondere plesier om die almal te vertel. Ek het klaar aangedui hoe buitengewoon ons byeenkoms vanoggend is, hoe uniek dit vir ons almal is. Nie my saak. Dis die eerste van al die brede plechtighede wat ons vir die volgende 3 dae hou. En elkeen van hulle is vir ons as universiteit, vir ons as amptsraad, absoluut kosbare geleentheid, want ons besef wat elkeen van u daarin gesit het. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you, or welcome you. We're very pleased to see you here this morning. This is the first doctoral hybrid graduation ceremony that will happen today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. In addition to all of us present here, we also have guests who have joined the proceedings via a live stream. We trust that it will be a memorable experience for you, the candidates, who are going to receive your degrees after so much hard work and focus and concentration this morning. Ek verwelkom graag meneer Honorary van der Merwe, de regent van die wêreldberoemde Stellenbosch Universiteitskoor. Meneer van der Merwe is the conductor of Stellenbosch's world-renowned university choir. He will be receiving a special award, the Chancellor's Award for Excellence this morning. And a second warm welcome to Mr. Gibson Kachage. He is the spouse of the late Ms. Rachel Kachage, who will be honored at this ceremony this morning with, sadly, posthumous honorary degree, but one that recognizes her life of richness and beauty. The Chancellor has travelled all the way from Malawi to join us today. Ladies and gentlemen, here at Stellenbosch, we believe in multilingualism. It's an asset to all of us. In the spirit of mutual respect for languages and cultures, inclusivity and a welcoming culture that we foster here, we will now listen to Professor Mwandi Mhlali from our Department of African Languages. He has recorded a few beautiful words of welcome in Isi Kosa.
Moleni manini na maningasi, siamukela kumsito kutusuta liviki, siatebaba orusu kuzaba n'ebibulo ezimwe, kwa bazatende tweswa isitanga, kuinsaso zabo, kineziko kukwasi. Manini na maningasi, sizamatiko onge sina biza amakama abantu efaneleke. Tiqinisekile udini nesekela lakhe bebezama ngakho konke kusemandleni kuziqhelanisa noku kodwa okunyana sinabo baza bebethethwa izidanga abasebenzi ngenengulo ezivela kwindawo ngendawo ezahlukeneyo eziningi ezahlukeneyo nezivela lapha ngapha kwemithi yaseMzantsi Afrika. Yiyo loo nto sicela ukuba nibe nenyameko kuba singakholisa kumcelimngeni biza amanye amagama ngefana. Enkosi.
Before we get on to the main business of the ceremony, I would like to make a few short remarks, particularly because this is my very first graduation ceremony. And for me, this is a deeply significant occasion to be here at Stellenbosch with you and to know what this ceremony means for each of you and for the loved ones who are watching and the loved ones who have supported you through it. One's graduation is a momentous event, a huge milestone on your life's journey, most particularly at PhD level, the pinnacle of academic studies. I'm truly very humble and deeply honoured to be standing here today, even more so, because I was a student here at Stellenbosch. I walked these roads, I worked in the buildings, I sat in the line many years ago. The memories are still vivid for me, and I hope for you too, as your lives unfold, as you reach achievements that you can strive for. I hope that Stellenbosch will remain a particular precious memory to you, and that you will regard yourself as attached to the institution and help the institution to grow. I will now be conferring degrees on behalf of the university in my ceremonial and titular role as Chancellor. With undisguised pride, I can say that I have profound respect for the way in which this university, the rector, Mr. Villiers, management team, and your academic leaders, the staff, have surmounted the terrible challenges of this year. They've enabled students of all social backgrounds to continue their learning, even though in March we wondered where we would be in December, and here we are. Each of you managed to complete your thesis, a remarkable achievement. Across our 10 faculties, 5,701 students will be receiving a sought-after Stellenbosch University qualification in these next 3 days. That's truly remarkable. This includes a total of 138 PhDs. Are you proud of yourselves, ladies and gentlemen? You should be. We are very proud of your contribution to the university, of your contribution to our country, to our region. Regional this morning, because we're proud of our association with the SADC community with Malawi as well, and to our whole continent and the world. To everyone receiving your doctorate here today, I have no doubt that you will use the knowledge and the skills and the networks, the people networks you have gained here at Stellenbosch to make the world a better place for everyone. Now more than ever, we enthusiastically embrace the opportunity to contribute at a time when the world needs people like you. a very happy part of the ceremony before you get your degrees. The university's honorary degree is something very particular. It's the highest honor the university can pay to anyone. En ek sal nou nie kom daar wat van my voorgestel word. Die betrokke eredoktersgraad verdien. En na van verder, the candidate will now be presented to you an honorary doctorate.
Mr. Chancellor, I have the opportunity to present to you the late Rachel Khashoggi with a request that you confer on her the degree Doctor of Philosophy, Posthumous Honoris Causa. The decision by Council and Senate to award her this degree was taken on the grounds of the following considerations. Rachel Khashoggi was a well-known disability activist with over 25 years' experience in advocating for equal opportunities and rights for people with disabilities in Malawi, the African region, and around the globe. She became disabled at the age of 3 due to a polio outbreak, but did not allow that to prevent her from studying and working. She held a diploma certificate with the Institute for Commercial Management in the United Kingdom and was working for the National Bank of Malawi when she first became actively involved in disability advocacy. In the 1990s, Khashoggi co-founded Malawi's Federation of Disability Organizations, FEDOMA, and represented it in Southern Africa Federation of the Disabled, or SAFOD, focused on advancing the agendas of people with disabilities in general and women and girls with disabilities in particular. She strived to demonstrate that success depends on a positive mental attitude. Creative and visionary, Khashoggi used her exceptional communication skills to highlight issues of social justice and inequity confronting people with disabilities. Her effectiveness in disability advocacy did not go unnoticed, and as a result, she held high office in various bodies committed to disability and human rights. Khashoggi became Minister of Disability and Elderly Affairs in Malawi, and in 2004 received a Malawi Human Rights Award and a Diversity Leader Award. She served as chairperson of the Commonwealth Disabled People's Forum, Disabled People's International and SAFOD, and as Executive Director and founder of Disabled Women in Africa. She was part of the landmark negotiations for the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities and contributed to the Millennium Development Goals, the MDGs, discussions regarding these issues. She was also a board member of the Africa Disability Alliance and the Equitable Project at Trinity College and Stellenbosch University, co-founder of Disabled Women in Development, commissioner of the National AIDS Commission, and secretary of the African Disability Forum Board. She had been associated with Stellenbosch University since May 2011, when, as chairperson of SAFOD, she delivered a keynote address at the university's Conference on Theology, Disability, and Human Dignity. Mr. Chancellor, I hereby request that you confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy, Posthumous Honoris Causa, on Rachel Khashoggi for her creative and visionary leadership in elevating the debate on disability to regional and global platforms, for challenging prejudiced notions of disability and advancing the inclusion of persons with disabilities, and for her generosity of spirit through her selfless dedication to knowledge transfer and engaged citizenship to improve the lives of people with disabilities. Her husband, Mr. Gibson Khashoggi, will accept the award on behalf of the family.
The degree of Doctor of Philosophy, posthumously, honoris causa, on Rachel Khashoggi. Earlier I referred to the fact that we are doing all these things for the first time. The hybrid ceremonies. We only have face-to-face events such as this one for the PhD candidates like themselves. All other degrees are conferred this year during virtual faculty-based graduation ceremonies. They have been pre-recorded and scheduled for release in due time. Information is available on the university's website if you are interested to visit the particular faculty graduation that you might want to view. And also just a reminder that this event can be viewed by a live stream from anywhere in the world, and later the recording of you walking across the stage will be available on YouTube for you to watch on the Stellenbosch University's YouTube channel. Nou sal ek aan die Graduands, die kandidaten wat aan my voorgestel word, die onderskeie doktorsgrade verdien, and now confer on the candidates presented to you the respective doctoral degrees. In a moment, first allow me to interpose something important. I want to speak about very important role players in your academic journey to be here this morning. Each of your supervisors, as is customary at most graduation ceremonies, would have read out a short synopsis of the work that you've done, contributing to the innovation of knowledge. And they would have called you up to receive your degree. We are now in a new normal because of COVID. We are unable to do that. Time constraints prevent us. But I do want on your behalf and on your family's behalf to pay tribute to each of your supervisors. May I ask that the supervisors all stand, please. Well done. The yearbook lists 10 responsibilities that a supervisor must perform. I'm not going to mention them all. It's enough to say that they act as guides, as mentors, as supports to each doctoral candidate throughout the time that you're with them. For that, they deserve acknowledgement. And now to you, the candidates, for which the ceremony here is this morning. We are going to do our best to pronounce each name. I will ask you for your indulgence if some of us get some of the names wrong. I'm told that the deans have been practicing hard, but we request your understanding and tolerance, which we know you so often do. So now we come across to the exciting and essential part of the ceremony.
Mr. Chancellor, I request you to acknowledge the following candidates who graduated in March 2020. These candidates will cross the stage for ceremonial purposes only. Elna Deur, with dissertation, A Qualitative Interpretative Study Exploring the Well-Being of Slaughterers, a comparison between Jewish, Muslim, and secular slaughterers. Supervision provided by Dr. Zuhair Kafar. David Doctoral, with dissertation Cleaning Up, a sociological investigation into the use of outsourced house cleaning services. Supervision provided by Professor Lindy Heineken.
Carmen Harrison with dissertation Psychological Strengths, Mediating the Stress Coping Experience, Implications for Mental Health and School-Going Adolescents from Low-Income Communities of the Cape Metropole. Supervision provided by Professor Neba Somhlaba. Pauline Liru with dissertation The Influence of Climate Change on the Livelihoods of Women Involved in Rural Agriculture in Kakamega County, Kenya. Supervision provided by Professor Lindy Heineken. Itai Makone with dissertation A Critical Assessment of the Conceptualization of Political Risk Analysis for Hybrid Regimes, Case of Zimbabwe. Supervision provided by Dr. Derika Lambrechts. Charmaine Rudo Sane Lisiwe Manyani with dissertation From Livestock to Game Farming, Farmers' Understandings of Land Use Changes, Sustainable Agriculture, and Biodiversity Conservation in the Ubuntu Municipality, South Africa. Supervision provided by Professor Cheryl Walker. Hilda Bocheri Uburu with dissertation Social Representations of the Burning of Boys' Secondary Schools in Kenya in 2016. Supervision provided by Professor Leslie Swart. Renel Terblanche with dissertation Ongediertes, a critical qualitative study of farmer black-backed jackal conflict and its management around the square-kilometre array core site in the Northern Cape. Supervision provided by Professor Cheryl Walker. Nkaba Yankee Baba with dissertation A Comparative Study of Afrikaner Economic Empowerment and Black Economic Empowerment, a case study of a former South African parastatal in Vanderbijl Park. Supervision provided by Professor Lindy Heineken. Meneer die kanselier, ek versoek u om die graad dokter in die wysbegeerte in die fakulteit lettere en sosiale wetenskappe aan die kandidate wat ek aan u voorstel te verleen. Mr. Chancellor, I request you to confer on the candidates whom I will present to you the degree Doctor of Philosophy in the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. Tim George Bain Hart with dissertation Brokering, Mediating and Translating Rural Development, Land and Agricultural Reform in the Southern Cape. Supervision provided by Professor Kees van der Waal. Maura Lapperman, with dissertation Stillbirths at Kailicha Hospital, Issues in the Provision of Care. Supervision provided by Professor Leslie Swartz. Christina Alexandra Giulia Lorenzi, with dissertation exploring the implementation of a community health worker program for maternal and child health in the rural Eastern Cape, South Africa. Supervision provided by Professor Mark Tomlinson. Lorette Miller-Kloetz, with dissertation Experiences of Adults with Acquired Physical Disabilities of Social Work Support in a South African Context. Supervision provided by Dr. Ilse Slabbert. Renette Taljaard, with dissertation, A Critical Discourse Analysis of Drone Warfare and Drone Norm Life Cycles. Supervision provided by Professor Amanda Gous. Isanet van Skalkwyk, with dissertation, A Wellness Program for Mothers Living in a High-Risk Community in the Western Cape, to promote their personal and parental competencies. Supervision provided by Professor Tony Naidu. Meneer die kanselier, ek versoek u om aan die kandidate wie se name ook aan u voorgelê is, maar wat nie hier teenwoordig is nie, die onderskeie grade in hulle afwesigheid te verleen. Mr. Chancellor, I request you to confer the degrees on those candidates whose names have been presented to you, but who could not attend in their absence.
Die onderskeie grade en afwesigheid te verleen. I confer the respective degrees on candidates in their absence.
Meneer die kanselier, dames en here, dit is 'n uitstaande kenmerk van instellings wat op uitmuntende prestasie ingestel is, dat verskillende vlakke en forme van erkenning aan uitmuntende presteerders gebied word. In die konteks van die Universiteit Stellenbosch sluit dit onder andere kanselierstoekennings in, wat gefokus is op volgehoue uitmuntendheid in navorsing en of leer en onderrig en of sosiale impak en of administrasie. Mr. Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, An outstanding feature of institutions that focus on excellent performance is that excellent achievers receive acknowledgement on different levels and in different ways. In the context of Stellenbosch University, this recognition includes the Chancellor's Awards, which focus on sustained excellence in research and/or learning and teaching and/or social impact and/or administration. In the Responsibility Center of the Vice-Rector's Social Impact, Transformation and Personnel, the Chancellor's Award for 2020 is awarded to Mr. Andre van der Merwe. I ask him to stand and have pleasure in presenting the following motivation in respect of the recipient. Andre van der Merwe, musical director of the world-renowned Stellenbosch University Choir, is indeed a worthy recipient of the prestigious Chancellor's Award. Mr. van der Merwe directs this choir since 2003. He is therefore now for more than 17 years at the helm of the choir. This cherished colleague at Stellenbosch University leads this choir for a long period with consistent excellence. Achievements of the choir include the following. At the World Choir Games in Riga, Latvia in 2014, the choir won all three of their competition categories, achieving the highest mark in the history of the competition with 99%. At the World Choir Games in Sochi, Russia in 2016, the choir once again won all three of their competition categories. At the 2018 Llangollen International Musical Eisteddfod in Wales, the choir competed in the categories for open youth and mixed choirs and won all three categories. Andre won the award for the best conductor. Currently, the US choir is ranked number 1 on the Interculture World Ranking list of the top 1,000 amateur international choirs, a position they have held for the past 6 years. Mr. van der Merwe studied BMIS performance at the University of Cape Town, but after a hand injury, he changed his course of study and completed his degree in B drama directing at the University of Stellenbosch. He enjoys local and international recognition for his work. He acted as adjudicator and clinician at the Portuguese Summer Choral Festival for the Escola Superior de Música de Lisboa in June 2013 to June 2015, as well as for the Llangollen International Eisteddfod in Wales from 2013 to 2014. He was guest conductor and lecturer for the Taipei International Choral Festival and the Taipei Philharmonic Orchestra. From 2016 to 2019, Andre worked at music festivals and competitions in China, Singapore, Russia, Wales, Italy, Germany, Japan, China, and Indonesia. Mr. van der Merwe has ensured that the choir contributes to the strategic themes of Stellenbosch University. The choir advances a transformative student experience. Students are nurtured in a context of diversity of musical expressions, diversity of art, people, countries, continents, and diversity of exposure opportunities. The choir exhibits and advances the University of Stellenbosch's identity as a university in Africa and for Africa. The choir, in distinctive manner, facilitates the embodiment of the university's values of excellence, compassion, accountability, respect, and equity. Moreover, the choir contributes to a thriving Stellenbosch University. During this sad time of COVID-19, the choir is a source of light, of hope, of inspiration in local and global contexts. In innovative manner, it contributes to staff and student and societal health and well-being. The task, Chancellor, of professional academic support services at the university is to strengthen and promote the academic mandate of the university. On the level of learning and teaching, André van der Merwe nurtures a choir that helps students to achieve the graduate attributes of a Stellenbosch University learner, amongst others, responsible citizenship, scientific inquiry, dynamic leadership, lifelong learning, and holistic personhood. The choir is also one of the major vehicles at the university for transformative and humanizing social impact. The choir embodies the threefold quest of the university to be globally competitive, regionally impactful, and locally relevant. The visionary leadership of André van der Merwe that aligns with the vision of Stellenbosch University. His intellectual leadership that understands what the role and vocation of university choirs worldwide could be, and the commitment, dedication, perseverance, and very hard work of this musical director of the Stellenbosch University Choir is deservedly and appropriately honored by the conferral of the Chancellor's Award on him. Mr. Chancellor, I request you to present the Chancellor's Award to Mr. André van der Merwe, meneer die Vice-Kanselier. Ek versoek u om die kanselierstoekenning aan meneer André van der Merwe te doen.
honoured her life in a very beautiful way. I'm deeply grateful to the university to do it. We honoured Mr. André van der Merwe for taking the choir craft and his own craft to international heights. But most important, what we've done is to recognise your focus, your hard work, sometimes anguish, also an anguish, you know, and you pulled through. And that's why today is such a wonderful day by the ceremonies so well. So I congratulate Dr. Rachel Tachadi. I know that her recognition is going to be important for the work she does in the Zimbabwe, in South Africa and in our region. Nogmaals hartelijk geluk aan de referendum hier in die prachtige uiteenzetting van deze groep. Most of all to you, as I've said, you are now automatically alumni of Stellenbosch, alumnus, alumni. And if you're going to a job, continuing with your studies, perhaps going abroad, if it's possible, you're now an automatic member of the Stellenbosch University congregation. And we ask you to stay involved with Stellenbosch. It's important to us, it's important to you, but it's also important to all of those who are going to come after you as Stellenbosch students. There are many alumni hubs, either here in South Africa or abroad. Ons wil graag hê dat jy betrokken bly by jou alma. Kom gereeld terug. Deur jou ervaring met studente hier, wat nog op hulle studiereis is. Sluit aan by een van ons team van die alumni clubs wêreldwyd. Als Stellenbosch graduands. Die waar ek wil ook al praat, is ek beïndruk die besondere bydrae wat hulle maak. Please ensure that you regularly update your contact details with us. And sign on to martiesconnect.com to stay connected with your friends, to find the latest job job postings, mentors, and networking opportunities, all on the same location. And now from all of us here on the stage in the university's management and its teaching staff, we say proudly and with joy to you all the best for your future. Please do keep in touch. We want to know where our graduates are. And in particular, your spouses, your parents, your family, your friends. I congratulate them too on what you have achieved today. In many instances, support went hand in hand with sacrifice. I think each of your families made sacrifices for you to be sitting here today. The journey to the PhD is arduous, it's complex, it's challenging, but you've made it. Today, we hope that this ceremony made it all worthwhile. And I think that it will be good for you to acknowledge the support you received from your family and your friends with a round of applause now. Dames en heren, ons is nou die einde van die verligting bereik. Ek verklaar hierdie congregasie van die Universiteit Stellenbosch beëindig. Ek versoek u om op te staan op 'n oomblik en te bly staan tot die prosesie die verloop verlaat. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of these proceedings. I hereby declare this meeting of the congregation of Stellenbosch University closed. Now please ask you to rise and to remain standing while the procession leads.